We're back at the bench. My name is Steve Luke, and we're continuing our build of the Skywalker Mini. We're pretty close. We have our electronics all kind of sorted out. We have our internals and a lot of our externals glued into place. We have some final placement of the control surfaces to do. We have some issues with our control horns here, which we're going to have to fix or work around. Still don't have the solution to that yet, but we will deal with it in the meantime. So we're going to go into some of the final build stages, maybe the final build stage. A couple of updates. I changed my mind on a couple of the different plans that I had. One plan was this is the Y cable for the ailerons. The plan was to have this connected inside at all times, and then when I'm putting the wings on and off, to connect them here. But I think I prefer to having this cable tied down and constantly attached. But I don't want to have to reach my fingers inside and hit the right channel inside here. It's going to be really hard to do when I'm putting the plane's wings on and off. So instead, I'm going to do a little extension. I'm going to put the extension inside in a constantly in position, and I'll have this tagged so I can pull it out, connect, and then stuff everything in when I need. So this will be my aileron extension cable. It's going to be stuck inside here, and I'll just kind of stuff it down in here. And I'm going to connect my ailerons into the Y connector here. Okay, so when I'm putting on the wings, I'll connect this cable and then stuff it all inside. So I think that's it. All I need to do with the wings until I get the control rods and stuff sorted out. I think now I'm to the point where I have all the electronics in place. There's really nothing left for me to do except to glue the fuselage together. This is going to be a several step process, I think. I'm going to start with gluing on the bottom part here. So I'm going to glue along the bottom and along this bar. I'm going to go hold it together and let it dry. Then I'm going to stick some glue inside here, then and into here, and then into here. That's because I don't really expect to be able to do all the glue all at once, mainly because it dries so quickly. If I try to do it all at once, I'm definitely going to miss it, and then nothing's going to be glued properly. I'm going to take these electronics out and hope that that's not a mistake. And the goal here is that I just don't want them to get glued and cause issues. So I just want to see if I can make sure that these gaps here aren't actually holes. I think a lot of these are where tape and whatnot are in place. I'm going to put the glue over it to kind of fill those gaps. I'll let that dry. I'll come back in probably about a half an hour and I'll add some glue to the top here and move these clamps where they're going to do a little bit better. I will bring you back when that happens. Alright, so it's been a while. I just checked this glue. It looks like it's mostly dry. There's some still. It's not so dry, but most of this is okay. I'm going to start feeding the glue into the tops. Because I'm going to be sticking it in, it's going to be hard to get to using the same tube I've been using. So I'm going to use this foam safe CA. This front, there's a little post up here in the front. I'm going to try to slather a lot of this stuff all around the post. Make sure I get into as many crevices as I can. I have a feeling that this is going to be an important spot to keep glued properly. Okay, I'm going to let this dry some more. Then I will come back and test to see if there's any holes, see if I need to do any more patching. And if I don't, I will then attach this to the tail and work to glue that on. I will bring you back when I'm ready. Alright, so this is kind of the final preparation before I finish up here. I've got the fuselage all glued together. I've patched any holes that I could find. It's all pretty solid right now. I've laid out the electronics previously. While you were away, I did a dry run of putting everything together, and I realized two things with regard to the receiver. One, I was planning on putting it in like this to the back of the airplane. But there's a bind button right there, and so I wouldn't have access to it. So I'm going to reverse it and put it in here. And then I also wanted to mark the channel 1 corner of the receiver so I know where everything gets plugged in. I also did some research as to which channels are which for the Futaba. Channel 1 is the ailerons. Right. Channel 2 is the elevator. Yeah, channel 1 is ailerons, channel 2 is elevator, channel 3 is thrust, and channel 4 is the rudder. Right. So I'm going to put this into place. I'm going to connect the cables to it. Then I'm going to get this thing glued on. Alright, so I have the receiver down in there. And if you can peek into the hole, not sure if you can see it, but there is the access to the bind pin. So now I'm going to connect the cables. Alright, have the receiver, have all the cabling connected. Alright, now it's going to be for, I'm going to feed the connections in for the ESC that's going to come back here. Now I have this flag in place. What's going to happen with the motor is I'm going to have to rotate the cable around so that I know if you have these 3 wires in one direction, I'm going to rotate clockwise, and if I rotate the cable in the other direction, it's going to do counterclockwise. I don't know which direction is which, so I'm going to have to flip back and forth. This tab here is going to give me a point of reference so that once I know which way it's plugging in, I'll do the same on the motor side, and I'll put flag against flag, and we'll know that that's how you align it. So originally I had this connector into the ESC taped inside the body, but I've realized when I did a couple test runs that I need to be able to handle this connection as well as the other one in order to get a good connect. And so I'm going to have it stick out the back, and then when I have that connection made, I'll just kind of stuff everything in. Hopefully that'll work. In order to get this to hang out the back, I moved my ESC a little bit farther down, and just so it has better access to that back port there. Alright, so the next big thing that I have to do is glue in this, the tail, the top end of the tail here. Alright, so I have the stabilizer here gluing. While that's gluing, I'm going to do some more connections here. There are two bars that come in here and support the wings. I'm going to glue them into place now. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put some generous amounts of foam safe CA the next is the supports for these guys here. I did a quick test on these guys to see if they fit under the wings, and it's perfect. Like, they come up and they just barely touch the wing. It looks like it was made for it. So I'm super happy about that. So what I'm going to do with these guys is I'm going to cover them in the outsides of these guys in a little bit of foam safe CA. And then put it in here and make sure that they have an angle. So I'm going to do a workaround for these control horns for the moment. I would not recommend anybody following these instructions, but the correct thing, as I mentioned before, I should have moved these guys, rotated them so that they were pointing this way, and then I could put Z bends or L bends or any of the other methods of attaching them. But as they are here, there's no real nice way of attaching the push rod to both the control horn and the servo arm. So I'm going to do a cheapo workaround, shouldn't do this type of method. Basically I'm just going to take this and put a loop and kind of force it into place. So the push rods are in place for now. I will do it again. Actually, the one that's not is the elevator here, because this towel surface is still gluing, drying. I don't want to interrupt that, so I'm going to leave it go. I'm going to put tape over these servos to try to lock them in place. Again, I'm going to avoid this one because I'll have to rearrange that a little bit, or manipulate that a little bit. I guess that's all I can do until the towel here is glued. Then I have a charged battery waiting to go. I have the wings all set up and ready. I guess the one thing I didn't show with the wings is that I just attached the motor. For this motor I had it glued onto the wood onto the styrofoam. There's a couple of set screws. I put the motor in, put the set screws. This acts like a little prop saver. I just have a tight rubber band connecting over it so that the props stay attached to the pusher motor, to the motor. So the wings are ready. The electronics in here are ready. The battery's ready. All I have is the elevator and drying up that tailplane there. So I will bring you back. I will finish it up. So the tailplane is still gluing a little bit and pretty close to done, I think. It's pretty close to done. I figured I would get the canopy in order. The canopy consists of a magnet and a base plate. Base plate attaches here, and then the magnet attaches here. So I'm going to put the magnet on. And that'll be the canopy ready when that dries. Alright, with the tailplane dry, I can put the the push rod into place. Now this is the one push rod that I actually put in the right direction, so it should make this job a tad bit easier. What I will do is I will insert the Z-bend that I created here, and this one goes into there, fits into place, this fits into place. I'm not super happy with how tightly this glued into place. It doesn't feel like it's all that solid. It might be because it's a little damp in here. A lot of humidity today. So I'm going to throw in a little bit more glue. Just to see if I can make it a little bit more of a solid connection. The other side seemed like it was nice and dry, but right here seemed loose. Okay, so I've let the tail dry some. I've let everything else dry. I put all the electronics in their place. I've got the battery in place. I've connected the receiver to my transmitter, which I have in my hand here, and I'm tested out the control surfaces. Made sure things were running properly. And so what I had to do, so here's my transmitter, it's a Futaba, and this is channel 1 to ailerons. And for ailerons, when you're changing the direction of the ailerons, this is going to control roll. And what you want to do is when you control roll, you're pressing right. When you press right, you want your right wing's aileron to go up. This causes the wing to come down. The other wing is going to go the opposite direction. The other aileron is going to go the opposite direction. It's going to increase lift. It's going to rotate this way. And so you're going to get roll in the direction that you push the stick, as long as the wing on the same side as the stick goes up. The other one goes down. Okay. The elevator is a bit of a problem. So the elevator, it should kind of go the opposite direction of your motion. So if I push the elevator up, I want the elevator to come lower. So I push the elevator up, and the elevator comes down. Elevator goes, the stick goes up, and the elevator comes down. So if I do this, I'm basically pushing my nose down. If I do that, I'm pulling my nose up. Now there's an issue here. You can see that my whole tail is flexing when I do this. That's because there's no support in my tail. I think there was supposed to be. I didn't get anything that attaches to the back or glues in. There looks like there's a room for a little bit of spar. So I'm going to see if I can bolster that up with something I have at hand, because I don't know how doing this is going to function in any usable way. Only this side is moving, really. The rest of it is just torsioning. Alright, I did have to reverse this in order to get it the right direction. Rudder is channel 4. It comes off of my this stick here, the left-hand stick. And rudder, you want it to go in the same direction as the stick. So I push left, the rudder goes left. Push right, the rudder goes right. Okay. Now I have the motor attached as well. Motor is channel 1, is the left hand up down stick. Okay. And I wanted to make sure that my motor was rotating correct direction. The first time you connect the cables, it's kind of a lucky guess. There's 3 cables that connect from the ESC into the motor, and the order where they connect determines the rotation of the motor. If the motor rotation is wrong, you just reverse 2 of the cables and it'll go correctly. The way I test the directionality, so just put a little piece of tape there. Then I'll put up the thrust just a little bit, and you can see it spinning. You should see that it's spinning this direction, and it's real easy to tell when you put your finger in there where it's actually hitting your finger. So this is spinning in this direction here, counterclockwise I believe. And when this is connected, this is my prop. When the prop is connected properly, it's going to come in here and it's going to chop at the air this direction. That's the way that we want it to go. So I believe my motor is pushing the correct direction. So as a summary, I had to reverse my ailerons, I had to reverse my elevator, and because this is a Futaba, I also had to reverse my thrust. The thrust is positive and negative in reverse directions and what a lot of these things expect. And so whenever I have an airplane model defined, I end up always having to reverse that. On the Futaba controller, if you double tap the link, you can rotate over to the reverse section and you can see aileron, elevator, and thrust are all reversed, and my rudder is normal, and I'm not using any of these other channels. Okay, so I think that's it. My next video will be getting it flight worthy and putting it up in the air. It'll be the maiden flight. I'll try to get some video of it, but I don't think I have the right tools to get the recording, so I might just have to set it up and then describe how it went. But like I said, I expect there to be problems because of the elevator. I'm going to be really careful with it, and I think I will come up with an extra means of support. Alright, that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.